Here's a segment from a recent Gun Talk radio episode. You can listen to all the Gun Talk radio podcasts however you tune in, or check out guntalk.com for more. It's a pleasure to welcome, really for the first time on the show here, Lieutenant Colonel Alan West joins us. Colonel West, thank you so much for being here.
Well, Tom, thank you for having me, and a happy Sunday to you and your audience.
Well, thank you so much. You are taking on, I think you've been drafted to run for and try to replace Wayne LaPierre as the Executive Vice President of the NRA. You have been a board member. You know how the NRA works. I guess the first question is, and I'm sure you've been asked this by all your friends, why in the world would you want to do that?
Well, one of the things, having been a 22-year military veteran, I took an oath to support and defend the Constitution of the United States of America and against all enemies, foreign and domestic. And last time I checked, the Second Amendment was part of the Bill of Rights and the Constitution. So this is a distinct honor that people would deem me worthy to be drafted, nominated from the floor for this position, because if we're going to have a strong, safe, and secure America, we have to have a strong National Rifle Association. And right now, I think that we've seen some problems with the NRA, especially the lack of donations that have been coming in. I think we're down about 45 to 50%. The fact that you had over the last 2-3 years close to 7 million new gun owners, but we have not seen them join the National Rifle Association. So the nation's oldest civil rights organization, that's what I refer to it as. We've got to make sure that we keep it viable and relevant.
Well, I certainly agree with all of that. I was there way back in 1977 at the Cincinnati Revolt. Let's watch that happen. And I'm thinking about this meeting in 2 weeks in Houston. What is the mechanism for replacing Wayne LaPierre? Isn't it the board of directors that actually has to make that vote?
Yes, you're absolutely right. This is not a vote of the membership. It's a vote of the board of directors. And without a doubt, there is a cabal of corruption and cronyism there. I witnessed it, saw it. That's one of the reasons why I stepped down from being a member of the board back in August of last year, because I did not see a wholehearted desire to try to reform the National Rifle Association. And I spoke up back in 2019 at the Indianapolis meeting when these allegations were first coming out, and we had the meltdown between LaPierre and Oliver North, we needed to have trust and confidence in the leadership there. We needed to make sure that honor, integrity, and character were preeminent. But over the past 3 years, it seems that nothing has happened. And, I, from the floor of the board meeting in 2019, asked for Wayne to resign, because it's more of a distraction than a true benefit to the organization right now.
We watched the debacle of the bankruptcy filing, which was corrupt from the beginning to the end, even to the point of the attorneys representing the NRA guaranteeing that this would be successful, which that would be actionable. I'm wondering, if you get in, is there a way for you to go in and try to get some of the money back from these attorneys who basically hoodwinked an awful lot of people with what ended up being not only bogus, but the bankruptcy hearings exposed an awful lot of the things that were going on?
Yes, it did, and I don't know if I can recoup a lot of that money, and I think that has caused a reason for the drop in donations, because people don't want to see their donations going to a flawed legal defense. It really is about protecting individuals rather than it is about protecting the organization itself. So without a doubt, I've got to try to change that face. I've got to make sure that we look at these legal situations we're in, because you still have a trial with the New York Attorney General's office coming up in October, that we can move past that. And the only way you can move past that really is to show that you're serious about having new leadership and reforming the organization.
Bill Brewer is the attorney who's been making multiple millions of dollars a month off the NRA for several years now. If you get this position of executive vice president, how quickly would you be able to fire him? I hope it'd be within hours.
Yes, it would be. I think that's a decision that I have within my purview. And if anything, the lease would be to suspend any payment to him until we can make sure that we review the current status of the cases that are there. And I think on top of that, I need to be able to send a message to Letitia James of New York the Attorney General's office there to say either you take an action or you stop the death by 1,000 cuts to the National Rifle Association trying to bleed us out of resources.
Well, and clearly from her latest filing, what she's really after now is a lot of the individuals, which, I mean, I call it the NRA crime family at the top now. There it is. And she's after them. If you get in, and I would think at that point, you can replace the cronies that are up there, and maybe that would help appease the Attorney General of New York.
Well, I think it would. And one of the things that I would do is, as I stated, have that meeting with her and making sure that we get an understanding as far as the direction going forward. If she is after certain individuals, then go after those individuals. The individuals that I can remove from their positions as part of the duties and responsibilities and the direct reports that I have as the EVP, I will do that. But there are certain individuals that I believe are on the board that I really don't have the ability to remove. That's a membership responsibility.
Right. Right. Well, and you've been there long enough. I guess two things I want to ask. Because the board has shown themselves to be unwilling to take action to correct this, how and what would make them change their minds at this point to vote you in and vote Wayne out?
Well, that's a pretty interesting thing that you would ask, because what has come about now, and this is an old military term we used to use, is called a self-licking ice cream cone. And so the membership has, without a doubt, they have to let their voices be heard. Because furthermore, if you continue down this path where the board is eschewing and disregarding and disrespecting their fiduciary duties and responsibilities, then they need to be seen culpable and complicit in what is happening. So I think the pressure has to come from the membership, and we'll see what is happening, because if something does not change, I'm afraid that you will see the demise of the National Rifle Association. And part of the trial in October will be whether or not this Judge Cohen, he will be the one that appoints the leadership of the National Rifle Association. I don't think we want the New York Attorney General and a judge in New York to be in charge of appointing the leadership of the NRA.
Yeah, no, good point. All right, since you've been you've been involved in this at every level, being on a board and everything else, you've heard all the complaints from the members. We've seen the revelations. One of the big sticking points, I mean, there's a lot of other stuff going on, but with the members, one of the things that really has ticked off the membership is reading about and looking at the actual numbers of how much money Wayne LaPierre has spent of the organization's money flying on private jets everywhere, to go get his suits in California, to go down to the Bahamas, to go do all that. As the EVP, would you promise that you're not going to use NRA funds to fly on private jets and not going to use vendors to fly you around on private jets?
Well, I will tell you that I have a Rapid Rewards number with Southwest Airlines and a frequent flyer number with American Airlines, and I shop at Joseph A. Bank, so you don't need to worry about me doing those things. And the other thing you have to understand is, I came from a background in the military, and in the military, very simple maxim: officers eat last. In other words, your troops, the people you're there to serve, they get the first dibs. And so, no, I am not there to try to enrich myself, and I don't see myself being the organization. I see myself restoring servant leadership to this organization and being the face and the voice of the membership, and not any special interest, and certainly not any self-interest.
All right, to wrap it up, being very specific, what can individual NRA members do right now in the next 2 weeks to help with your effort?
I think they have to contact every board member and say that this is what the membership of the National Rifle Association wants. And I believe that at the annual meeting that they will have on Saturday of Memorial Day weekend, they have to step up to the microphone and say, this is what we want. Because right now, when you look and see what is happening, Tom, is that there has been such a high water mark that has happened. Really is board protectionism. I mean, you can't be recommended to be a board member unless you have a life membership, 5 years going. And so, again, this is that self-licking ice cream cone that is seeking to protect itself. They need to be more responsive to the memberships and not to themselves and their own special interests. And, again, the cabal of cronyism and corruption has to be broken up.
Yeah, and having 75 or 76 directors is a recipe for disaster, or it's actually a strategy to keep them from being able to do anything. Get that down to about 12, you can actually get some things done. Lieutenant Colonel Alan West, thank you so much for your time here.
My pleasure. And just so everyone knows, as a frame of reference, the world's largest corporation is ExxonMobil. They only have 15 board members.
There you go. Case in point. Perfect. I look forward to seeing you in Houston, sir.
Yes, sir. God bless. Take care.
You take care.